It is Desiree, and I am here with Simon Says Stamp. We are just coming off of one of the most wonderful months of Stamptember, and now we have a new release as well, and this is called Make Merry. I am absolutely in love with this stamp set. For those of you that have seen my videos, know I love a little bit of a twist and a little bit of sarcasm when it comes to just our everyday card making. Why not let's make it fun? And this does it. The man, the myth, and that is what the stamp set is called. So let's get started. You know, when I first saw this, I'm like, not quite sure, but I'm loving it, because what I immediately fell in love with was, one, the title of the stamp, as you can very well see, and one of the sentiments, the man, the myth, the legend. And I believe, we all must believe. So had to really think about this. So I finally came up and knew it was going to be a slimline card. So that's what we are going to build. And what I started with was I dug into my stash and I found a great background stamp called the Holiday Background. You see me stamping that there, and you're going to see me try to figure out how to continue this up my panel. So I stamped it on the back so I knew where it would be, and then I pushed the rest down with my hands. And you can't tell that it's broken. Yay me. We got to be creative, right? Okay, so that's one way to do it. So I grabbed a piece of white cardstock, I stamped my images, and I used my Gina K Amalgam Black ink for the background of that I use, the background stamp, which is called, I am so sorry, Holiday Background. I'm not sure if I said that. Getting so excited here. I used Gina K Moonlit Fog for that background because I did want it soft. I stamped my images, and now I'm going to use my Prismacolor pencils to color them. So I am going to apologize. I moved all of my camera equipment, excuse me, or my filming equipment, and I used to always know where to put as I zoom in to show you the coloring, because I am going to show you this coloring. Well, since I moved it, I forgot to relearn how to mark it. So most of this is in the camera and some of it is not. You know, some days are just better than others, but I do like to zoom in so that you can see the coloring. So the majority, as I said, is sitting there. I believe it's when I get to the mustache and the beard that I'm going to show you as another section of it. And then I lose part of the hat. So I do apologize, but you know what? Let's just enjoy the film. Let's enjoy the coloring that I'm doing here. You can see that when I use my colored pencils, they are my medium of choice when it comes to coloring. That I do lay down. It depends upon my image. So an image like this, a non-floral image, I do tend to lay down my lightest shade first. Then I will come in with my medium shade and put that in there and start marking that off. And then I will come in with my darkest shade. So it's kind of, I kind of operate, well, I do operate like we do with our alcohol markers. And the person that I watch is Courtney Kreber. She's a very close friend of mine, and whenever I'm coloring with my colored pencils, I always hear her in the back of my head go to the scary dark, and that is what I've always done in colored pencils. So it makes me smile as I'm doing this. So when it comes to reds, I will either use a very dark purple, like an eggplant, or I will use a very dark brown, almost black. I'll even use black. Or I will use, in this case, as I am here, a dark indigo, which is a dark blue, which is close to black. So you don't necessarily have to stick with the same color family to get your darkest shade. You can go outside of that. And that's what I'm doing. Here's where I start sliding off to the side. Yeah, because I wanted you to see when I use my colorless blender, I clean off the tip when I go from color to color. Or else you will transfer those colors. So now I'm back into the screen here, and you can see just how I'm using that. I always use a light hand with my colored pencils because I like to layer on top of each other. And if you go heavy right off the bat, you've built up the wax and it will not continue to take color. Now, the paper that I'm using here is the Nina Solar White Crest, which is 80 pounds. I will be honest, this is not my paper of choice to color on in any way, shape, or form. I do like a paper with a tooth. I do like the crevices, so I will actually use a Bristol, a watercolor, or my Strathmore mixed media toned tan, gray, or blue. Those last three, they are my choice. I love them. I can build and keep building and keep building. When I'm on my Nina, I kind of build really quick because there's no tooth to it. It's a very smooth cardstock. So those are the pieces, and I actually used a silver colored pencil to take care of the beard and the mustache. Now I am going to fussy cut these images out. They are very easy to fussy cut, and you are listening to a non-fussy cutter person. I don't like to fussy cut. I don't do it well, but these are really easy. So I pulled out my Hero Arts Unicorn White Pigment ink, and I pulled out one of my makeup brushes. This is a makeup brush, and I'm going over the edges of that panel. Now that panel that I did stamp on is 3 inches, by 8 inches. So now I'm just playing with the placement of my pieces. I knew one thing. I wanted the sentiment to be right in the center, in between the glasses and the mustache. Now, what would have actually been absolutely adorable is to put small slits underneath the mustache and let the sentiment sit there with the mustache coming over. I was trying to figure out a way that I could get that pom-pom to go over that sentiment, but I didn't want to block it in any way. So still thinking about my placement, trust me, as I'm doing this. I pulled out my Hero Arts lacquer pen because I'm going to then use the puffy powder, their puff powder, on top of this. So I'm going to pour that on, and then I'm going to use my heat tool to set that. So this way I can have some awesome dimension within that area. I used my double-sided foam squares for all of my pieces because they will be propped up off of this panel that I have. Takes me a while to get the release paper off here, just saying. The first thing that I will place down is the mustache and beard, obviously, and I'm going to place that in the center. That I did want centered. The hat is going to sit on an angle just a little bit. I do wish I would have cocked it just a little bit more. I liked it when I first had it placed, but it wouldn't have been that too much cocked, although I would have had mine because I like to, you know, really have that dangling there, the little tiny pom-pom. I'm going to set that right there, and it's okay that it's coming off of this panel because it is going to be sitting on a 3.5 by 8.5 card base for my Slimline card. Next up are the cool shades, and I did go kind of with the I don't know, I forget what they're called, what style, yuppie, maybe? No. The today's style, I forget what it's called. I'm totally out there. Placing my sentiment down, I am going to use my tweezers to hold down that one end because, again, it is sitting on the wax of my colored pencil, so it may not hold right away. I'm going to add a little bit of a double-sided foam square piece there so that that can stay propped up as well. I will actually dig into my stash as well to pull out some Nuvo drops. I'm going to layer my panels together. So I have pulled a scalloped Slimline die from my stash, and I'm going to place that on there, and then I'm going to place it down on a piece of black cardstock that I cut 3.5 to 8.5, just to make that just pop off of that page. And also because my glasses are black, the outline of the image is black, and my sentiment was stamped on a black piece of cardstock. So it kind of ties it all together, but makes that focal image just pop right off the page. I'm going to pull out my bright gold Nuvo drop just to add a little bit of a drop on that glass there, just to give it a little bit more interest. And I use the sentiment on the inside yo, ho, and I'm going to put the number 3 after the ho. Yeah. You know, yo, ho, 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 or ho squared. Get, okay. I like it. I thought it was funny. I had a really good time with this card. I don't know if you guys can sense that, but I really did. I think this stamp set is great and completely ingenious. So I do hope you enjoyed today's project. I hope you giggled along with me, or maybe you just laughed at me. I'm good with either one. But as always, all the products that I used will be listed down below in the video description. And if you have any questions, please make sure you leave those down below as well, and I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, this is the new release by Simon Says Stamp called Make Merry. So enjoy. I cannot wait to see this one myself. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe, be part of my group, and make sure you ring the bell so that you know when the next video is ready for you to watch. Enjoy your day. Always make sure you do that. But remember what's most important to me. Even if you do it just a little bit, and it doesn't matter how you do it. Always be creative, everyone. Till next time.